We'll do the thing. The thing is gonna get done. Why
Nice.
are the battles sideways? Like they couldn't think
Because
up a way to like it's the internet. It's a button. You could have it flip between the sideways battle
Yeah.
so we could read it.
yeah, I was showing the cards. This was the other day. While Sam was home sick, and I got off work and I came down and no, this was Tuesday. I had someone else covering for me in court, and I was home with Sam, and we were looking at the card image gallery, and we got to that part, and I'm on my laptop, and I'm trying to click on, it, I'm like, it's not changing, and my laptop is not a touch screen, so I had to.
Excuse me.
It was easier to actually turn my laptop on its side to read it, but then everything then flips over to the normal orientation, so then flip it back.
Uh,
Yeah, in the age of the internet, I was
yeah, like this is just awful. But that's okay. Apparently there was they got the artist credit wrong on one card cuz quality control is just right down the drain these days.
Mm, that's that's an alpha level mistake right there.
Right? Like it popped up in the Discord and you're like, "Oh, look what they did." I'm like, "Are you serious right now?" Uh
very serial.
Super serial.
Yeah.
Yeah, they had to issue a statement on it and everything, which I guess we'll mention on the show. Why not? But all right, that is filling for almost 2 minutes, so that should be good. Okay, here we go. Oh, jam! Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Mana Pool. This is episode. I really hope I changed the episode number properly. I was sort of in a rush when I first sat down. Oh, and I'm not putting numbers on the YouTube posts anymore because the numbers there are sort of irrelevant. Hang on, go to the hard drive. Nope, I can't even tell. Yes, okay, this is episode 674 of the Mana Pool, and I'm not cutting any of that out because it's charming.
It's true. It makes us look like real people as opposed to the androids we actually in fact are. So,
Exact. I mean,
yes.
what? That does not compute.
No, no, I mean, no. End of line. Keep going.
Job there, Brian. You broke it.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
guys.
we'll just get him a tune-up later.
You're gonna have to go. I got to mute.
Wow. I didn't know that would be that effective. Apparently, he's weak to my type or something. So I'm Brian. I'm the lead rambler, tangent master of the group, and I think today I kind of feel like a ground type. I don't usually feel like a ground type, but you know what? I'm going with that today. So maybe he's. Oh God, it's been like 20 years since I played a Pokemon. What's he weak again? What's weak to ground?
Like
He's
water.
that. Chewy water. Chewy's a water type. Okay, there you go. That makes sense.
I am
Who else is
moist.
here? Moist.
I'm Mike, the rules guy and the game lore guy, and let's see. Um, let's say I feel like I've been having a lot more plant-based meals lately, so let's say leaf type.
Wouldn't,
Yeah.
wouldn't that be grass type or is there a leaf type too?
Oh,
Grass type.
grass. Never mind.
I've never even played a Pokemon game in my life.
And I'm Dirk, the self-proclaimed greatest man alive and moral compass of the group. And if I was a Pokemon type, I would hope I would be Dragon, although I do like Ghost type as well.
Hmm.
I like how in the original anime they made it look like, oh yeah, you have a problem with psychics, you just need to bring a ghost type. But in the original game, the only ghosts, Gengar, and Ghastly, and was it Haunter, were
Mm.
also poison types. You know what's weak to psychic, aside from most things in Generation 1? Poison really is weak to psychic. So if you're like, oh yeah, I can take on Mewtwo with like a Haunter, no, no. Just don't do it. Everything is weak to Mewtwo. So Pokemon!
And since I was dying and didn't get to do my intro, I'm Chewy, the lead dork, and I'm a bad boy type. That is completely the opposite of the truth.
I was about to say, not a Pokemon type. I guess you'd be either water, fire, or grass. Those are your starter Pokemon.
No, I can see Chewy as being a grass fighter type.
See, I was trying to think of a type of something that is not. I'm a battle. Ah.
Topical.
Does that mean you can be flipped over for something?
Oh yeah.
Oh dang it! Wow, you really walked into that one,
ladies. So. Oh man.
Oh my.
Chat says I'm a space type. You call me a space case?
Is
I mean,
that a
you're
real
not
thing now.
You're not wrong.
I haven't played since Gold or whatever. So, is space actually a thing now, or are we just being silly?
I mean, we're always
There
being
was
silly.
a dimensional thing in Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon.
Okay, enough Pokemon. Let's move on.
Right.
Good lord. So, since we've been gone, feel like I've been chewing on tinfoil. No, that's a Weird Al song. Right, yeah. So, sorry for the delay. I guess for you guys, the delay already happened because you just got a new episode like yesterday. Sorry about that. It took me a long time to get the Game Expansions episode put together because I just wasn't feeling it. Wasn't feeling much of anything. It's been a weird week. Let's just put it that way. In my brain. But it's up now. But we didn't do a show last week. I don't remember why. I think Brian was missing and my brain was a mess. That's what it was.
That's what it was.
I had to pick up my mom and my grandmother from the airport, so I was not going to be back in time.
Yeah, and my brain was. Let's not even talk about it. It's been a weird week. All right.
It has been a very weird week for everybody.
Now we're back, but now that means we've missed all of March of the Machine revealing. So we're going to do that now.
Yes.
Yeah, so let me set this up so everybody can see what we're looking at. Bam! All right, so March of the Machine is up, and we should do the mechanics. First up, we've got the big one, a brand new card type that we knew about because of, I forget which card, Atraxa? I think it was Atraxa.
Atraxa.
Yeah. Mentioned the card type battle, and everybody sat up and was like, excuse me, what is that?
Yeah. And she was in the last set, Phyrexia All Will Be One. Or she was even in, I think, the Planeswalker set of that set. Not going to dwell on that. But yeah, everybody was like, oh, battle. Okay, so what's it mean? And didn't know how long we'd have to wait, and apparently we had to wait 2 months. So here we are.
Yeah. So, battle is a brand new card type that's sort of like Planeswalkers, kind of?
Mm-hmm.
Kinda, sorta.
Yeah, so... And, okay, for those of you listening to or watching the video version of this, I already complained about this, but Wizards of the Coast, if there's anybody that works for Wizards of the Coast that still bothers to listen to this show, even though, we rip on you all the time because things are awful over there, it's not you, it's the higher-ups. We still love you, designers and whatnot. But, whoever is in charge of the web, can y'all get them to fix this? Because having all of the battles... Here, let me go to the card image gallery and jump down to the bottom.
Yeah.
Having all of the battles be sideways in the year of our Lord 2023, when we can, do anything we want on the internet, this is awful. This is ridiculous. Like, I'm going to get a cramp trying to read these damn cards. Like, have it right side up, so that I know it's right side up so you can see the bottom of the card. No one cares about the bottom of the card. We care about the card text. So just someone, please, do something. It can't be that hard. It can't be. It's just an image. Look, you can make it flip with this sweet animation. So that means you can have it be readable, for God's sake. Okay. Anyway.
I've got it up on my phone so that when the time comes, it'll actually be easier to just tilt it. Although I can't tilt it all the way because then it's like, oh, you're trying to change the orientation. I'm like, no, stop. So,
and then it's even smaller and you can't read it at all.
Right.
All right, so our first... I didn't just hit something on my desk. That didn't hurt. Okay, so the first one we have here, we'll go through the card and explain it as we go. So first up we have Invasion of Fiora. Quick, which one's Fiora?
Conspiracy.
Right. All right, so Invasion of Fiora for 4 black is a battle with the subtype Siege. All of the battles in this set are sieges.
Yes. Leaves open the possibility of other non-siege battles in the future. I'm thinking like maybe duels or something. Yeah.
Dogfights.
Ooh, that would be a dragon set. That would be awesome. I'm trying to think of other things that fly that you could have battles in. I'm like
phoenixes, birds,
ornithopters.
No, I was like blimps. No.
I want to see 2 ornithopters just bumping into each other over and over again.
But okay, so Siege. The reminder text says, as a siege enters, choose an opponent to protect it. You and others can attack it. When it's defeated, exile it, then cast it transformed. So, essentially, what you're doing when you cast your Invasion of Fiora is you're giving it to an opponent. Essentially,
yes.
Like, you still control it, but it's over there with them, and you and everyone else can try to break through it.
Right.
And break through it how? Well, that's what this 4 right here is. In the corner with the POW box. I do like the box around the 4. I don't know what that's actually called because I haven't read this yet, but
yeah, that represents the number of defense counters it enters with.
Right. It's just like...
Which is important. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like loyalty on a planeswalker. This is its starting number.
But it is important that it has counters on it because it allows it to interact with things like Proliferate or Vampire Hexmage. So it's not just, when this is dealt damage, the counters matter. But it enters with that many defense counters.
Yeah. And it can be attacked by creatures or targeted with spells that target any target, just like planeswalkers.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So
there are some direct damage effects that specifically say battle as well.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Oh, okay. I haven't seen any of those yet.
We'll get to it.
So that's that. That's how battles work. And what you're doing is you're giving your opponent a thing that might soak up some damage from them, but they don't want to use it to soak up damage because then you get something awesome. But we're not even done with the front side yet. So it says, let me crack my skull here. When Invasion of Fiora enters the battlefield, choose one or both. 1, destroy all legendary creatures. Oh, I haven't seen this card apparently. 2, destroy all non-legendary creatures. Well, damn.
So you can either, it is 6 mana, so
yeah,
but it can either be a straight up Wrath, or maybe if you're running one or the other, or it's gonna be more advantageous to do one but not the other, you can selectively do it.
Yeah, so that's cool. A 6 mana Wrath, a 6 mana adjustable Wrath, because more options, more better. So, that's what it does, and then it's there for you and your other opponents that aren't the one protecting it to attack. And if it gets broken, then it gets exiled and comes back under your control as
Yeah, and not even that, it gets exiled and cast.
I'm sorry, and cast. Yeah, so it can be
Transform.
countered.
Mm-hmm.
For that. That is true.
But
And there
anything
are
that
some
says
that
when
lets
you
them
cast, yeah,
yeah.
What?
I was also going to say that also lets them put non-permanent things on the other side.
right.
Wait, say that again.
That also lets them put non-permanent things on the other side, like in instance and sorcery.
Oh!
Yeah.
I did not. Are
Yeah.
they doing that in any of these thus far?
There's
I-
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Cool. Clearly,
But
I
then
have
also
not
things
seen all of them.
Also things that care about, like, when you cast an instant or sorcery spell or creature spell, in this case for the flip side of this, it triggers those. So
Right. So okay. So somebody tell us about the backside. Backside.
backside the backside is Marchesa, Resolute Monarch. When we last left the conspiracy sets, remember there was the Ghost King, and then Kaya came in and killed the Ghost King because that's what she does with ghosts. And Marchesa stepped into the royal void, so to speak. And so she's clearly still in charge, and she wants to try to make sure those darn Phyrexians don't take her job. So she's here. She's she's the legendary human noble. She's a 3/6 with menace and death touch. So it's hard to
Nice.
block her, and anything that blocks her is probably going to die. And whenever she attacks, remove all counters from up to one target permanent, which actually makes her really good at flipping your other battles.
Yep.
Because those counters come off, you got it. And then I love that this last ability here, this actually ties into how the Monarch ability works from the second Plane Chase set. At the beginning of your upkeep, if you haven't been dealt combat damage since your last turn, you draw a card and you lose 1 life. Because she's the Monarch.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That is clever.
Yeah. Oh, this set, especially the battles, is full of callouts to all sorts of stuff. The whole time I was talking to Sam, I'm like, okay, this battle, and then when I see something, I'm like, all right, and I'm up on Gather, I'm like, this is referencing this card and this card. So it's a little bit of,
Time
Future
spiral.
sight.
a little bit of time spiral, yeah, exactly, in the sense of, like, here. In
That's
the
what I meant.
video where they introduced the set and they talked about the set, they said that because this is the conclusion of this story arc, much like how War of the Spark was to the Bolus arc, what War of the Spark was to Planeswalkers, this set is to Planes. And they want to show off as many as they possibly could. Which means
That's
lots
cool.
of, like, hey,
Yeah, there's a lot of obscure stuff in here.
yeah. And frankly, you don't have to know, oh, this is a reference to whatever to get how a card works. But when you do know it, you're like, hey,
Yeah, it's
see
an
what you
extra
did
level
there.
of appreciation,
Right.
like any good Easter egg.
Yeah. The more
Yeah.
I thought about it, the more I'm like, wow, this really is kind of like Time Spiral, isn't it? But in a good way.
Yeah, not in a
because,
mechanics
at least by-
way.
Right. Because they could have said, when she comes in, you become the Monarch, and they didn't do that. So, good job
Yeah.
so far. Yeah. Okay. So that is how battles work.
Yeah,
They
so
have
for any questions, let's see. The battles are sorcery speed, so the subtype is where you get the rules for what happens.
Mhm.
Yeah, a battle subtype provides rules for how it can be attacked. So these are all sieges, but that means battles could work not just mechanically, like what they do when they enter the battlefield or whatever, in a different way. They could be entirely different mechanically in the future, which I think is
Sure.
really neat
Yes.
and hopefully
the
won't be
easiest-
confusing.
Yeah, I guess the easiest variant might be one that everyone can attack, but only one person. Whoever beats it gets the benefit. That could be cool.
Yeah.
Ooh.
It's Mechanically, it's hard for me to kind of follow a little bit along what's going on here. I'm guessing that you're playing as the defenders, not as the Phyrexians, because the thing you flip into is definitely on all of these is someone that is defending the plane. This is someone that's not a Phyrexian, but you're attacking it. So I'm not going to spend time on this, but I'm just trying to figure out from a Vorthos perspective.
Flavorfully, you mean?
Yeah, flavorfully, thank you. What's going on? I get mechanically, flavorfully, I'm trying to figure it out, but I'm not gonna stay up all night like draw a pie chart or something. So attack the thing, get a reward, and all of these also have an enter the battlefield effect. So
Yep.
even if you never flip it, you at least get some effect out of the spell, and it's something that the opponent has to think: how much value am I putting on defending this?
Exactly. So,
Yeah.
when we say your opponent can defend it, just like one of their planeswalkers, they can block
Yeah.
any attacks that are coming at a battle that you've given to them.
Yeah.
Oh, Razorback said you're holding off the invasion until reinforcements arrive. That's really good.
I like that.
Yeah. And it's a siege, so maybe you're breaking through the siege. Maybe. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So I get it. So it's Helm's Deep, and when going with what Razorback said, so the siege is the Battle of Helm's Deep, and then when Aragorn and Theoden ride out, and Gandalf is there with the rest of the Riders of Rohan, that is spoilers, I guess. That is when it flips.
I guess.
Makes sense.
That is as much thought as I think they gave it, so or more. So yes.
I like it.
Yeah.
So yeah, like it mechanically, it's like you're giving your opponent a planeswalker that they can't use, but they want to protect it because otherwise you get something awesome.
You know
And
what
in
it
this
reminds
case-
me a little bit
Oh,
of
what'd she say?
are curses.
Sorta.
A little bit.
I'm getting this thing. I get a unique effect from this, at least originally, and I get a bonus for focusing on you. It's a little bit like it. It's reminiscent of it.
Yeah. So that's battles. I think we covered basically all of the basics of that, right?
So yeah,
I think so.
let's keep moving with the mechanics.
There
We'll
are-
get back.
What'd
we'll
you
get
say?
Some other battles later.
36 battles in this set.
Yes, and there's supposed to be one per booster.
Oh.
Draft booster, since
Are
we
there
have a
different?
million different types of boosters.
Are there different rarities? I didn't look.
Yes, this
There
one's a rare, but they are at uncommon
here's
and
an
up, I
uncommon.
believe. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. The very first one I saw had it was invade. No, hang on. Where is it? Was Invasion of Zendikar, which is an explosive vegetation with more upside. I was like, what? uh But we'll get to that. Okay, so nope, mechanics. Here we go. All right.
Yeah.
Returning is Convoke. Oh wait.
Did
Which-
you skip over the
Oh, I was
transforming double face cards?
no, I was just looking at the next card listed here, and it has Convoke. So I was like, oh, we're going to Convoke. No, this is showing a card that can deal damage to any target,
Yeah.
meaning battles too. That's a really weird thing to put there because that's got Convoke on it.
Actually, Convoke is in the set.
Well, yeah, I know,
Um,
but why would they put it here without doing Convoke next? That's just
Yeah,
silly.
but
That-
talking about it.
Oh, I
What
scrolled
they're
down to
doing
the bottom
is-
of the article. They don't talk about Convoke.
No,
What?
it deals 4 damage.
No. Yeah, but Dirk, the point is the invoke. Convoke is in the set.
Wow, and it's not in the mechanics article.
It's not in the mechanics article. They spent more time talking about it on the video than they did here. That's
Oh.
Oh my
Crazy.
god.
So
Okay, so
what does
Convoke is back in the set, and it is a mechanic where you can use your untapped creatures to help you cast spells. So instead of using generic mana, you can, or instead of using mana, you can tap creatures and use them as mana of their color. So like if you use a red creature, if you tap a red creature when you want to cast Stoke the Flames, you can use it for one of the red mana symbols. So Stoke the Flames for 2 red is an instant with Convoke that says deals 4 damage to any target. Nice and simple. But you could tap 2 red creatures and 2 other creatures and not use any mana for Convoke or for Stoke the Flames. Which is awesome. When's the last time we saw Convoke? Good lord.
It's been, I think it was a core set.
Yeah, I think it was a core set. That might have been when Stoke the Flames was printed. Because
I was saying, this is a reprint, right?
Yeah, it was
Yes,
originally a Celestia mechanic in the first Ravnica block.
Yep.
But then it was brought back in a core set and expanded to other colors.
Because I remember that they also that they brought back Court of Calling, and
Oh,
that
yeah,
was
yeah,
really
yeah.
fun. Yeah.
Yeah, oh, and chat
No,
points out that you can use creatures that have summoning sickness for Convoke because you're not using a tap ability on the creature. That is correct.
Yeah. And they pointed out in the video, they're like, this is one of our most popular mechanics ever. And I'm glad it's in the set. And this article is just one article, but I find it ridiculous that I think somebody just missed a check mark somewhere that they don't explain.
Didn't
it.
Tayback write this? Damn it, Tayback. Okay, anyway. So that's Convoke. It's really easy to grok. It makes perfect
Yeah.
sense
Yep.
once you know what it does. And now you know what it does, for those of you that aren't old like us. And then, let's see. When the last defense counter is removed, the battle's defeated. Triggered ability triggers. As that ability resolves, the controller exiles it and casts the back face without paying its mana cost because there isn't one. Yeah. Okay. Wait, if I click this, does that one change? Oh, it doesn't. Okay, cool. Just checking the mechanics of the website. All right. So then we have other double face cards that transform, like the old way, where do a thing to... Actually, wait, these don't transform. Or this one doesn't. It exiles and returns transformed.
Yeah.
Oh, because it's a saga. Right, we've talked about these.
Yeah.
Because
We talked about
the one a month ago.
Cataxius last time. Yeah.
So, but there are transforming creatures. Oh, here's one here. No, that's back up. There are transforming creatures and the Praetors that turn into sagas, stuff like that.
It's the 5 Praetors, and then what? As far as I can tell, the rest of the ones in the set are the front face is a creature native to a plane, and then the back side is when it's been completed. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, which makes for some really interesting art to watch the 2 perspectives. So,
Yep.
talk about Elsinore now, or do you want to keep going? And I'm sure we'll get to all the Praetors. Do you want to talk about her now, or keep moving?
Let's get through the mechanics.
Okay.
All right, another new mechanic is backup. This one
Yes.
is cool.
This is really neat, and I'm glad that they have done this in a way that's easy to understand.
Yeah. So, backup is a creature ability that it gives back. Okay, so hey Mike, you're the rules guy. Read this card.
Okay. So, read the card?
Yeah.
Read the mechanics. Okay. So, Boonbringer Valkyrie costs 3 white for an Angel Warrior. It's a rare 4/4. Has backup 1. Reminder text says, when this creature enters the battlefield, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature. If that's another creature, against the following abilities until end of turn. And the following abilities are Flying, First Strike, and Lifelink.
Which are also the abilities that the Boonbringer Valkyrie just has.
Yes.
Right.
And yeah, the way they've written that is really cool. That it gains the following abilities, and then it lists the abilities that are on the creature.
Yeah. So you always, I mean, the Boonbringer Valkyrie is a 4/4 with Flying, First Strike, and Lifelink.
Yep. And when it enters the battlefield, you can either put the counter on it to make it a 5/5, or throw the counter somewhere else. And if the counter goes somewhere else, it shares the Boonbringer Valkyrie shares the abilities for a turn. And that is so cool.
And the fact that they had the thought, and I'm sure probably testing, to do it so that it does not give those abilities to itself just makes it so clean, so that it's not like, all right, this has 2 instances of flying and First Strike and Lifelink, what does that mean? So it specifically says if it's another creature, it also gets these abilities. So
yeah, so any sort of like poison counter nonsense that they might end up with backup or something, none of that will happen again.
And notice they also say specifically the other creature gets all the abilities on the original one that are below backup. So let's say Bringer Valkyrie had flying, and then on the type line, and then below that said backup 1, and then had First Strike and Lifelink, it would not impart the flying. So I have not read every card in the set, but if there's one that, for example, has something like that, it is every ability that follows backup.
Yeah, and they do give the example that, like, there's something with land cycling in here that also has backup. It wouldn't really make any sense to give something on the battlefield land cycling, so they put it up above backup to make it.
Oh, that does. You're right. Okay.
I didn't see that, so yes, thank you. A lot of good design here.
Oh yeah.
I think it bears repeating, and Chewie mentioned this earlier, that our complaints about stuff happening at Wizards are mostly about things that aren't the cards.
Oh yeah.
Because the cards are still just really good. They're just doing a good job lately. So that's backup.
That's backup. Nice and simple, easy to grab, no problem.
And I feel like every set, when they have new mechanics, needs at least one ability that you can get like that. And it's not always the most Johnny-tastic. It's not the one that makes everybody go, ooh, but it's solid. And you get it. And I think backup fills that role very well. Battles are a completely new card type. And some of them are easier than others, but this is doing the heavy lifting of being like, hey, this is just really good. The next ability is one that's kind of a combination of the two. It's fairly simple, but there is a layer of nuance to it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So hey, Dirk, tell us about traumatic whatever thing.
So traumatic revelation. For 1 and a black, it's a common sorcery. Target opponent reveals their hand. You may choose a creature or battle card from it. If you do, that player discards that card. If they don't, incubate 3.
Yeah. So incubate is the next new ability, which is a really neat thing, actually.
Mm-hmm.
At first, I thought, oh, this is just another amass, like from War of the Spark, amass, make an army token and put that many counters on it. This is not that. It really isn't.
Yeah. So what incubate does is incubate and a number, and the number is the number of counters that your incubator token gets. So here's your incubator token. It's an incubator. It's an egg. It's a whatever you want to call it. And it's a 0. Well, it's not a 0/0. It's just an artifact, but it has +1/+1 counters on it, and it has 2 mana to transform, and it transforms into a 0/0 Phyrexian. But it'll have counters on it, so in this case, it'll be a 3/3.
Notably, it does not. The ability does not exile it and then transform it, because then they would die every time.
Yeah, that would be bad. So yeah, it's just a neat way to make sizable tokens that you don't actually get right this minute.
Yeah, and it's fascinating because then this allows you to do shenanigans like board wipes.
Board wipes, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty sweet.
Yeah.
I really do like Incubate.
Yeah.
And like we did here, this is either make them discard or get an eventual 3/3. Hey. Because there's nothing worse than, okay, let me see your hand so I can make you discard a creature or a battle. And they're like, artifact, land, artifact, nope. I'm like, oh. Well, I'll get a 3/3 then.
Good job there.
Right?
Yeah.
So that's nice and simple. And then, yep, Plane Chase is back. And they brought back Plane Chase, which I think we talked about last time, didn't we?
We did because we talked about the language chaos ensues.
That's right.
Which is so great.
Yeah. So
okay. So
That's
let's
it
go
for
to the card image
mechanics.
gallery and
Yeah.
putz around in there.
Yeah. So do we want to cover the Praetors?
I think so, yeah.
Yes.
They are all not in their respective colors because they are all double-faced.
Yep.
So, why don't we go ahead and talk about Elish Norn? Because actually, it actually fits that we just talked about Incubate, because that's pretty important to her saga. Elish Norn is the central antagonist of this story, and in fact, she's going around and actually executing some of the other Praetors for daring to speak up. The story begins with her killing Sheoldred, and then Urabrask gets dissected. So, yeah. Elish Norn.
So Elish Norn is the Tennessee Congress? Wait, no, sorry.
Elish Norn, for 2 and 2 white, is a 3/5 legendary Phyrexian Praetor. I believe they're all mythic. 3/5 for 4 with vigilance. Whenever a source an opponent controls deals damage to you or a permanent you control, that source's controller loses 2 life unless they pay 1 mana.
Yeah, that's awful.
That's very punishing. Yeah.
Not card design awful. That's brutal.
No.
There we go. That's a better word.
Yeah. The fact that she comes down for 4 mana, ooh, that's tough. For 2 and a white, and sacrifice 3 other creatures who give their lives for her, because of course they do. Exile her, then return it to the battlefield, transformed under its owner's control, activate only as a sorcery. And we flip over to the Argent Etchings. As we said last time, and as was explained, these sagas, because Phyrexia doesn't have stories of its own, these represent the goals of these Praetors, what they see the ultimate goal of Phyrexia to be. And for Jin-Gitaxias, it was, experiment on everybody, everywhere, all the time.
That's so hot.
With her, it seems to basically be dominance. The Argent Etchings is a saga. Chapter 1, which will happen right away, incubate 2 5 times. then transform all incubator tokens you control, including the ones you had prior to this. So, because otherwise it would cost 10 mana to transform those 5. But nope, you get them all right now. All of these sagas, by the way, are utterly ridiculous because you already have to put in the work to even get to them.
Yeah, you got to do some ridiculous things to.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you did have to pay some mana and sack 3 other creatures.
Yeah, and keep her alive until then.
Yeah.
If you remember, the Jin-Gitaxias was like draw a whole bunch of cards, and then play everything in your hand for free. So
Right.
this is top end stuff.
Oh,
Chapter 2.
hey, Jason Kaus just resubbed for the 53rd month. Good lord, that is not a small number.
Nice.
Thank you.
Oh.
We'll be talking about him later.
All right. Chapter 2. Creatures you control, like all those ones that you got now, get +1/+1 and gain double strike until end of turn.
Good lord, did I forget to read these? Like, what the hell?
Chapter 3. Destroy all other permanents except for artifacts, lands, and Phyrexians. Then exile the Argent Etchings, then return it to the battlefield, front face up. So, and again, all the Praetors have that effect of, like, when the saga runs out, you get the Praetor back. So, yeah, this is redonkulous. The front side is ridiculous. The back side is ridiculous. And then keep in mind, when you go back to that front side, unless you've lost all of those creatures you just attacked with, now anything that would deal them damage is going to drain the opponent. Not drain life, that has a certain connotation. It's going to hit the opponent. Wow, that's just that's a lot.
So
Yeah.
the pay 1 only accounts for when a creature deals damage to Elish Norn, correct?
No, it is
No.
whenever a source an opponent controls deals damage to you or a permanent you control, whether that permanent is Elish Norn or another creature.
So,
if
like,
you
if
lightning bolt,
your opponent casts a Pyroclasm, they're either in for a world of hurt or they're done with their turn.
yeah, because it's not 1 mana for every source. It's 1 mana for each thing of yours and you that would deal damage to, whether it's combat damage or other damage. If I have Elish Norn, Dirk, and you lightning bolt her, you either lose 2 life or you pay 1. Like Chewie said, if you cast Pyroclasm and I have 5 creatures out, including Elish Norn, for each of those creatures you pay 1 or lose 2 life. And if you target me with the spell that would deal damage, you better pay that 2 life or a mana.
Because I was making sure it wasn't for each 1 damage you have to pay 1.
No, but for each instance of damage that hits something of yours, they do.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So isn't there a burn spell that's like do 1 damage, do 1 damage, do 1 damage, or something like that?
There might be.
It seems like there's a burn spell that has, instead of deal 3 damage divided, it's deal 1 damage, deal 1 damage, deal 1, or something like that. So that always pops into my head for when I'm thinking of instances, packets of damage.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, so yeah, Elish Norn is a trip. But
Yeah.
we've already done Jin.
Yeah,
there we
done
go. Jin
Gitaxias.
Gitaxias. So I guess Shieldred?
Shieldred.
Just named Shieldred.
Yeah.
Wow, that's weird.
Well, just like the others are just named Elish Norn and
Well, they are, aren't they?
Yeah.
I had
It's
not
the first
noticed
time
that
they've
because
just been-
they have the 2 names. And my brain always, this is the thing y'all might not know about me. My brain always just removes any sort of appellation on any of these cards. Like, I don't know any the difference between this Heliod or the others. Nope, I got nothing. Like
Yeah,
the different,
I know what you mean.
The different kinds of Jaces, I don't know what their actual names are.
Used to be we had a baby Jace and a big Jace, and since then we've had about 20 more Jaces.
Yeah, now we've got like shirtless romance novel Jace. We got Jace Noir. That's how I know them. I don't know them by their actual card name. Anyway. All right, so Shield. Ooh, can I take Shieldred because she's my boo, or at least previous versions?
That feels appropriate.
have
Yeah.
been my boo. So Shieldred for 3 black is of course a legendary Phyrexian Praetor. She has Menace. Because look at her. Of course she has Menace. When Shieldred enters the battlefield, each opponent sacrifices a non-token creature or planeswalker. Sorry. All right, so that's fun. For 4 and a black, exile. Oh, That's it. For 4 and a black, you exile her and return her transformed. Okay. Oh, activate only as a sorcery and only if an opponent has 8 or more cards in their graveyard. I missed that part.
Right. So they all have conditions.
Yeah.
On
What
that
was Jin
transforming.
Gataxia's?
7
or more cards
in
in hand. Okay, got it.
Yeah.
All right. So 8 or more cards in your opponent's graveyard. Got it. So she turns into the True Scriptures. Wahaha. The True Scriptures.
Yeah, of all of them, she's the only one that seems to have any, like, Yawgmoth was the true father or something like that. So, but now she's dead.
Whoops. So,
Yep.
the True Scriptures, Chapter 1. For each opponent, destroy up to 1 target creature or planeswalker that player controls. Blessed is Yawgmoth. That's pretty good. Which I guess for 5 mana, yeah, it's probably good to get something like that. The True Scriptures, Chapter 2. Each opponent discards 3 cards, then mills 3 cards. Whoa.
Oh, just wait. Just wait.
That's... Blessed is Yawgmoth. The True Scriptures, Chapter 3. Put all... What?
Yep.
Put all creature cards from all graveyards onto the battlefield under your control. Exile the True Scriptures. Turn it back into Shieldred. Oh.
She's
Wasn't
the one
that a Liliana limit break back in the day?
Original Liliana.
Yeah.
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 That's
to me,
sexy.
This Shieldred is the least exciting of these Praetors up until that part. I feel like she's good, but she doesn't have the, like, wow factor. She's like, kill one thing or sacrifice one thing or whatever. And it's high cost. Because remember, to flip her, eight, is it creature cards? Or 8 more cards?
No, just 8
Sorry.
cards. Yeah.
Yeah,
8
8
cards.
cards.
A total of 10 mana in 2 packs of 5.
That takes a lot. And then even the first 2 chapters are okay. They're not great. And then the last one is just
like
the bottom falls
going
out.
back to LS Norn, she makes you like 5 2/2s and then makes them 3 3s and gives them all double strike. Like her first 2 chapters are bruh. Hang on, where's the bruh button? I'm so proud of that. I redid it. Are you ready? I love it. Anyway. Could you guys hear that? Did that come through the
I
mic?
couldn't hear it.
Yeah, my part.
Wait, no?
No.
Nope.
Oh, okay, hang on. There. Did you hear that?
I just heard a...
I hear
it
a
sounds like-
blip.
I think...
Chat's saying it came through on their end.
Stupid Discord. Yeah, it's got to be Discord's weird volume and leveling thing.
Yeah.
Okay, anyway. But yeah, like her first 2, Ellis Norn's first 2 were like, good lord, and these 2 are like, oh, okay, and then the third one's like, blam, and drops the big elbow.
Yeah.
I like it. All right, what does our boy Urabrask do? I feel like this one should be Mike.
Yeah, I
It
love
probably
Urabrask.
should be Mike, because
Yeah,
then that
'cause-
leaves Vorinclex for Dirk.
Because back in the day, Mike was all about some old school Urabrask.
I still love Urabrask. Old school Urabrask. Old school
Yeah, you do.
Urabrask is awesome. I was very sad to see that card with him on the dissecting table.
Yeah.
Urabrask is 2 and 2 red for a 4/4 with first strike.
Oof.
Feels awesome. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, Urabrask deals 1 damage to target opponent. Add a red mana.
That is kind of gross.
That's completely sweet. So, then, for a single red mana, exile Urabrask, then return it to the battlefield transformed under its owner's control. Activate only as a sorcery, and only if you've cast 3 or more instant and or sorcery spells this turn.
Oh, I get it. And it only costs the red because you're guaranteed to have a red mana from casting your last one.
Yeah.
Yep.
So really, the mana you really have just the mana you spend is whatever you have to put into the spells you cast.
Yeah. That's clever. I like that.
It is. I like it. And so then, this story is the great work. Chapter 1 of the Great Work is that it deals 3 damage to target opponent and each creature they control.
Good lord.
So another big flashy. This is another one that's big and flashy right out of the gate.
That's nasty.
Chapter 2, create 3 treasure tokens.
That's setting up to be nasty.
Yeah, can't possibly be up to anything other than no good. And Chapter 3, until end of turn, you may cast instant and sorcery spells from any graveyard.
What?
If a spell cast this way would be put into a graveyard, exile it instead. You have to pay the cost for these spells.
Yes.
Mind you.
They're not
And
free.
that's what the treasures
Yeah.
are for, to give you colored mana to cast
Yeah.
stuff
To help
that's
you
not
out.
in your colors.
Yeah.
Exile the Great Work, then return it to the battlefield.
Wow, that's also messed up.
Yeah, so, and we didn't touch on this, though two people brought it up in chat. Similar to LS Norn, so LS Norn gave you those tokens, and if you still have enough of them around, you can put them right back into the activated ability on the front side to get the saga started again. Similarly,
Oh, that's true, yeah.
for the Great Work, if you ended up casting 3 or more instants or sorceries with that 3rd chapter, and you still have a red mana left over, then you can just restart the saga if you want to.
I was about
But
to ask that.
even if you don't want to, Urabrask is back face up when you're casting all those spells from chapter
No.
3.
Oh, it says until end of turn.
Yeah, you're right.
Oh my
You're right.
god.
I didn't think that far ahead. But
I
yes,
didn't
you're right,
either.
because
Yeah.
this
The-
ability has to finish
Yeah.
resolving before you can start doing anything else. So
Which means-
Urabrask is up.
Which
What?
means not
What?
only are you getting a red mana from every single one of these, but no matter whether it's a draw spell, a burn spell, a kill spell, a spell, whatever, it is also pinging an opponent every time.
This is ridiculous.
I told you, Urabrask is awesome.
Like, I thought
This-
it was one of those times where because we had this in the last set, right now you cast a bunch of spells. It's not until end of turn. It's right now. But this one is until end of turn, and my brain completely there are a lot of words on this card.
Because it has to, as Mike said, the ability has to finish triggering and resolving. I am not good at this, but does this one have eternal format playability? I don't, at 4 mana, I don't know, but even if you never flip it, play a bunch of cantrips and they pay for themselves. Pay the Phyrexian mana spells and actually get mana off of them.
Yeah, costing 4 and not basically winning on the spot is a big hump, but there's possibility there.
Now, when you say eternal format, probably not, but non-rotating formats, maybe.
Okay.
Like modern
don't-
here, yeah.
Yeah, like it's possible that there's some sort of modern or whatever the other ones I've forgotten already.
Or historic or pioneer or whatever the heck.
There's honestly, there's too many formats for me now, and I'm sounding like an old curmudgeonly guy. If there's a format out for somebody that loves it, I'm not going to say that's a bad thing. I just don't know them all anymore. So, all right.
Back
That's
in my day, you
ridiculous.
had Type 1 and Type 2, and you liked it.
We didn't talk about Type 1.5. I mean, Mike did, but no.
That
the rest
was
of
when
us
Magic
didn't,
started
because
to die.
come on. Yeah, the first time. All right, Dirk. There's a green guy too. His name is
Yeah.
Vorinclex.
Urabrask is stupid. What's Vorinclex do? Jesus Christ.
All right, so for 3 and 2 green, he's a 6/6 trample reach Praetor, Phyrexian Praetor.
Ugh.
When Vorinclex enters the battlefield, search your library for up to 2 forest cards, reveal them, put them into your hand, then shuffle.
Okay.
All right. For
That's-
6 and 2 green, grand total of 8, exile Vorinclex, then return it to the battlefield transformed under its owner's control. Activate only as a sorcery.
So, okay, chat pointed out that Vorinclex doesn't have any extra things. He just
No.
costs freaking 8.
He costs 8. That is his condition.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. He flips into the Grand Evolution.
Ooh.
So, the first part, mill 10 cards. Put up to 2 creature cards from among the milled cards onto the battlefield.
Wow. That's
Yep.
that's really cool.
Yes.
All right. Second part. Distribute 7 +1/+1 counters among any number of target creatures you control.
That is not a small number.
No, that's not. And then the final verse. Until end of turn. Dun dun dun. Creatures you control gain 1 mana. This creature fights target creature you don't control. Exile the Grand Evolution,
What?
then return it to the battlefield.
What? And you've just thrown 7 extra power and toughness out there.
Yes.
And oh my god. You can use one of your bigger creatures to pick off multiple smaller ones or bigger ones, however you want to do it.
Mm-hmm.
As long as you've got mana. And we know you've got mana because it cost 8 to flip it over in the first place, and that was 3 turns ago. Two turns ago. Good lord. That's really cool.
And as Brian pointed out, because it says until end of turn, if you have a lot of mana out, that means that when he comes back, you can pay it again, turning him back over and getting 2 more creatures out, potentially, who would then be there to fight.
Okay.
Well, okay.
Yeah, I was about to ask, how does that work, Mike? Because it says until end of turn.
Yeah, so it'll only affect things that are on the battlefield when that ability resolves. So, if anything, so continuous effects that like change characteristics, like change power and toughness or color or give or take abilities or anything like that. If they're on if they come from a resolving spell or triggered ability, then they only affect things that are on the battlefield when they resolve. Other stuff that comes in later isn't affected. Now, if it's on the static ability of something like an enchantment, yeah, it affects any eligible thing all the time. But no, since when the last chapter ability resolves, it'll only give that fighting ability to creatures that are on the battlefield at that time.
Okay, that's what I thought, but I wanted to make sure.
Mm-hmm.
Because it says until end of turn, creatures you control gain. I'm like, does that mean I can play more creatures and they can fight things? That doesn't feel right.
No, it won't work that way.
I remember when I started playing, Mutilate was the hotness, and I thought, because it said until end of turn creatures get -X, that if I followed that up with a creature, the creature would probably instantly die. So I think if you don't know exactly how it works, that's kind of a logical conclusion to go, oh, this effect is in play until end of turn. So, decent question.
Al said he's thinking about chaining these together. You transform Vornclex into the Grand Evolution, and you mill into another Vornclex, and that's just evil, and I'm here for it.
It's good. It's good.
So those are our Praetors.
Those are the Praetors.
And they're all silly. Good God.
Yeah, they're all ridiculous. For Planeswalkers, I believe there are just 3, which almost feels a little short given what's happening, but the Planeswalkers were not to be the focus of the set. True. They are important. But one of them is Chandra, and we did cover Chandra last time because, she's upset.
Very sad.
Yeah. It's interesting. I was just double checking. Karn is not in the set. He's pretty important to the story as well, but he sits out for most of it. He's been kind of disassembled. So the ones that we have are Ren and Elspeth.
Nope.
Where? What?
Nope.
Say.
Go to Invasion of New Phyrexia.
Oh well, that's a separate thing. I mean, yes, that
Oh,
is a planeswalker. You just have to get there first.
yeah. Okay, we'll get to that. Where is Ren?
Ren is in
Uh,
green. She's the last card in green.
Oh, W. I'm like, I've completely missed this. Okay.
Have you not seen this? You should read this card.
I was thinking this looks very much like a dirt card though. Actually, it
Ren
looks
the
more like a
Realmbreaker.
Mike card now that I glance at it. So okay, fine then. I'll split the difference. I'll read it. So Ren and Realmbreaker.
Oh, you hear her first.
Oh, no.
You take half of a Dirk and half of a Mike, and you get a Chewy.
That is not how that works. Do not try that at home. I like my two halves of Mike and my two halves of Dirk where they are. Okay, so Ren and Realmbreaker for 1 green is a Ren Planeswalker, obviously. Now you remember Ren from Ren and 6 and Ren and 7 and Ren and Stimpy, right?
Yep. Yep.
Okay. So there's a static ability that says lands you control have tap, add 1 mana of any color, which is nice. Always good to have that. What was that ability? What was that artifact?
Chromatic Lantern.
Chromatic Lantern. That's the one. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay.
There was that green creature in uh the Five Suns, the Fifth Dawn, that did this. But
I don't
That too.
remember the name right now.
But okay, so that's a static ability. Starts with 4 loyalty. For +1, up to 1 target land you control becomes a 3/3 elemental with vigilance, hexproof, and haste until your next turn. It's still a land. So it's you, wake up, run over there and kill something. And it gives it haste so you don't get that, oh, you just played that land, idiot. You don't have to worry about that. Which is a nice touch. Because all it does is keeps you from doing the feel bad on Arena when you click the wrong land. And it's like, oh, you just played it, summoning sick, can't attack, idiot. Like, that's just bad.
Yes.
So you put haste on it so that literally can't happen. Awesome. Anyway, all right. -2. You mill 3 cards. You may put a permanent card from among the milled cards into your hand. Oh, that's cool. That's pretty good for -2. And then the limit break is -7. You get an emblem with, you may play lands and cast permanent spells from your graveyard. And that's why I said it's a Mike card. That is a hell of an emblem, actually.
for 3 mana, this card does a lot, and immediately fixes your mana.
Yeah.
So
It also has a lot of extra creatures. Because up to 1 target land, yeah, I mean, every turn you can get an extra creature that's a 3/3 that you can go and wail on somebody with.
Yeah.
it only stays a creature until your next turn. So
But it's
They
still
don't-
1 extra creature you get a turn.
Yeah.
As
and
long as you're doing the +1 ability.
but importantly, because it stays a creature until your next turn, a lot of times when you animate a land, it's just for a turn, which means it's not so great for blocking unless it's instant speed. But this immediately goes if you have a 4th land, or if you use some other way to play this, because that ability does not untap a land. But if you play this and then immediately target an untapped land of yours, you've got a 3/3 blocker. That's very important.
That is neat. And also, if you, like, let's say you know your opponent's playing Burn, you play Ren on turn 3, you don't want to give them a free land destruction. It says up to 1 target land. So you can just roll it up +1 and not worry about accidentally giving your opponent a Stone Rain.
But it doesn't matter. Well, as long as they don't target it.
That's what I'm saying. If you know your opponent's on Burn and you don't want to give them a free target, you don't have to. That's another of those, oh, stops the feel bad. I like it.
It also gives the land hexproof. That's really cool.
Oh, it gives them hexproof, so they can't target it anyway. Ignore everything I just said.
But you know, any spell that deal 3 damage to each creature.
Right.
Anything
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that.
that's true.
Yeah, yeah. I got what you're going for. So, I am being summoned to go kill a bug in another room. So, can I talk about Elspeth real quick? Because I don't want to miss this.
I mean, we'll go talk about the bug, and we'll talk about something else real quick, or we'll go kill the
I'll
bug.
go.
That's more
I'll
important.
go kill a bug.
Yeah. Let us know what kind of bug it was when you get back.
Probably just a stink bug, but I'll be
Ew,
right back.
Don't kill that. Just take it outside.
I'll flush it. Yeah.
While he's gone, let's talk about one of these artifacts. Like these are all common. Never mind. Wait, there's an artifact that I keep. Oh, it's a black creature. Never mind. I was say there's an artifact I keep seeing people. Yeah, the etched familiar. In black, I just like this because it's a corrupted filigree familiar.
Oh,
Yeah, the etched familiar for 2 and a black is a 3/2 artifact creature Phyrexian Fox. And when it dies, each opponent loses 2 life and you gain 2 life. And the flavor text is no refunds. Chami, curio vendor. But you remember the original the crap. Filigree familiar,
yeah.
when it entered the battlefield you gained 2 life and when it died you drew a card, I want to say?
Sounds right.
I think that's right. Chat will immediately correct me if I'm wrong. So, but I think that's right. I'm gonna go look it up. This is what we were talking about earlier. There are a bunch of these callbacks to older cards if you don't. That if you know, it's like, oh, that's cute. And if you don't know, it's like, that's a cool card. Enters the battlefield, gain 2 life. When it dies, draw a card. Yeah. And it was a 3 mana 2/2. So now because they've added... How did I get back down here? I'm so confused. But because they've added the colored mana to it, and it's Phyrexian now, they gave it a point of power. And yeah, I like it. No card draw anymore, but it's in black, so that makes sense. Hey, what's another super simple card we can talk about, chat? Give us one you like. Quick, before Brian gets back.
Another sword.
That's not simple. Swords aren't simple. Swords are crazy. Ow. There was
Then the Phyrexian Archivist?
is that black or blue?
It's an artifact.
Oh, it's an artifact.
Yeah, I was down the artifact part.
Okay, what's that do?
For 6 mana, it's a 4/5 with reach. It's a Phyrexian construct that's common. For 2 and a tap, put target card from a graveyard on the bottom of its owner's library.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, here with all the, I mean, there's a fair amount of recursion and stuff in this set and the set before it, so
Yeah, it's
that's
like
something.
it's like super sweet anti-recursion tech.
Yeah.
Be like, hey, I'm gonna target this in my graveyard, and the archivist goes, no, you're not.
Yeah.
And it's a 4/5, so it's it's got use other that you can play in any deck and thinking in limited, so it's super. Like it's a tech card that you could also just run if you needed, an extra beefy thing.
Yeah, it's like if Junk Troller started working out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, Brian's back. What kind of bug was it?
It was a stink bug.
No.
But it was like in the bathroom and between her and her nightly medications. So she doesn't like bugs. You were in the artifacts. Did you talk about the sword?
No, we were just doing simple stuff until you got back to do Elspeth.
Okay. So, who all has read the story for the set? Because the whole story's been out for about a week now.
No.
I read about it, but not like the actual story.
Did they make Cliff's Notes for Magic story?
No, just like things I've seen on Facebook.
That basically counts.
So at the end of Phyrexia All Will Be One, Jace was like, I'm going to blow this place up with the Silex. Silex, right? It's not
Yeah,
Correct.
you got it.
Silex. Aha! And everybody else was like, you might blow up all the worlds. And he's like, it'll totally be worth it. And Elspeth stepped in and grabbed it and walked into the blinded attorneys just as it was getting ready to go off. And as we had seen from various previews, it seemed like she was going to come back. In the story, she is being guided and she's kind of watching things happen from on some of these planes. She watches as Chandra is upset with everybody else for not going back to New Phyrexia immediately. And Ren is the one person that's like, I'll go with you. Liliana is like, we'll all die. And she's like, yeah, but then we need to do something. And Elspeth is being told by somebody off screen, it's not time, it's not time. Where do you want to go? And she sees New Capenna, and she's like, I could try to do this. And they're like, yeah, but then will that make a difference? No. She sees Ajani attacking Theros, and she's like, he was a mentor to me if I save him, but I won't save everybody else. And finally, on New Phyrexia, she sees Jin Cataxius about to essentially dismember Karn, and this other figure essentially stops the moment in its tracks and says, "Are you going now?" And she says, "Yes." And it turns out the other figure is Sarah, and she kind of puts a little bit of juice into Elspeth, and Elspeth comes back as Archangel Elspeth. And it's actually a very cool story beat, and it's a good evolution of her character because so much of her character was defined by overcoming her fear, and at this point faced with the Phyrexians that she has literally been afraid of her entire life, she has overcome it, and she's essentially now the ultimate weapon against them, hence Archangel Elspeth. So from a story perspective, very good. From a card perspective, let's see. Archangel Elspeth costs 2 and 2 white for legendary Planeswalker Elspeth. She is a mythic. Comes in with 4 loyalty for 4 mana. +1, create a 1/1 white soldier creature token with lifelink. Classic
Ooh.
Elspeth.
But
Yeah,
with lifelink because Angel.
but with yes. -2 loyalty, put 2 +1/+1 counters on target creature. It becomes an angel in addition to its other types and gains flying. And then -6, which doesn't take too long from her starting 4, return all non-land permanent cards with mana value 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield.
Huh.
That's pretty good.
That is
She
pretty
doesn't she doesn't scream over the top like the Praetors, like some of the other things we've seen, but this is just super super solid. +1, create a dude that has lifelink is a tremendous tempo swing. And then that -6, if you're in a position.
Oh my god. I'm sorry. Razorback in the chat just pointed out that the -2 does not say until end of turn, which my brain wrote in there.
Yeah.
No, it's always an angel and it's always got flying. Yeah. And it's any creature. So if you've got like a bit of a flavor break, but if you've got a Vorinclex, now it can be an angel with flying.
That like, wow, there are a lot of things this card doesn't say. That was one of them.
So, story perspective, I like it. Gameplay perspective, this seems really, really solid.
Ah, yeah, I like it.
Will win you the game. Solid.
Ouch. Man. Yeah,
Now,
that's pretty sweet.
Yeah. Now, as chat indicated, there is one more planeswalker. It's just not a planeswalker on the front side.
Yeah, which one was that?
Yeah. Battle.
Invasion of New Phyrexia.
New Phyrexia. Yeah. Wait,
Yeah.
what?
So, Yeah. So as Elspeth is coming back and saving people, everybody else is trying to get Ren to Realmbreaker as soon as possible because Ren's whole thing is bind with trees, and Realmbreaker is a tree. And eventually she gets there and she finds the one itty bitty little dormant part of this tree that isn't like all hail Phyrexia and is just a tree, and she bonds with it, and she sends the Realm Breaker out because it can find planes. She sends it out looking for Teferi. And at the end of the Brothers' War, Teferi is stuck. What was going back to the Brothers' War area got disrupted trying to come back and has been stuck in, of all places, Zahir. That little time bubble that he sent
Zalfir.
Zahir into, and Zalfir. And couldn't,
Zalfir? There's a
thank you.
ZH. Whatever.
His home, which was originally a continent, not a plane, but he sent it away to protect it, and then he couldn't get him back, and it was the source of his greatest shame and whatever. So Realmbreaker finds him, and it basically costs Realmbreaker and Ren's life, the last of their energy, to connect to it and create a portal, a gigantic portal that happens to have thousands of people that have been waiting to defend Dominaria from the Phyrexians for hundreds or however long it's been of years since invasion, and they're like, "Oh look, Phyrexians!" And they're led by Teferi, and so it catches Elish Norn very off guard. They're not used to being invaded, and that's what this moment encapsulates. Oh, and Ren, in a this is pretty cool, manages to switch the I guess the planar locations of New Phyrexia and Zalfir. So now New Phyrexia is stuck in nowhere forever, like just completely disconnected.
So banished to the
And
Phantom Zone.
basically, yeah, and Zalfir's now got its location. In the end of the story, they say something about the five sons, so I guess the five sons of Mirrodin are there, but I don't know. So this is
Man,
Invasion of New
that's gonna
Phyrexia.
wreck the ecosystem of Zalfir. I'm just saying.
Yeah, a little bit. And then whether it is from Elish Norn being destroyed because Karn basically takes her and he's like, "You are my mistake," and disintegrates her, or if
Jesus.
it's yeah, and the story goes into some detail because he is a pacifist and he says he never ever wanted to do this, but he blames himself for everything. So he makes it a point to disintegrate her.
I
But
mean,
whether it's
there's a
her,
reason that he blames himself for everything.
yeah.
Because it's
But
his fault. Oh.
but whether it is her destruction or whether it is Phyrexia being so far removed that the oil just isn't transmitting orders anymore, the Phyrexians everywhere pull a Phantom Menace, the droids at the end, and just kind of all go like,
Dude,
you know,
spoilers.
I mean, it's. Oh,
Sorry, I couldn't resist.
Wait a second. Yeah. They all fall. Okay, fine. It's the Avengers. It's the end of the Avengers when they blow up the mothership. Also, spoilers, I guess. I don't know. Feels like a bit of a super tidy, like, oh, we've got this invincible invading force that all it takes is a drop of oil
All we have
on
to
a
do is kill the
plane.
Wi-Fi, and
Yes,
we win.
It's the
pretty
end of
much.
Independence Day after they upload the
Yeah.
virus to the alien spacecrafts.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. But, the only thing we don't know about here, Jace and Vraska are never seen. They are completely off screen. So I'm wondering if Jace is going to be the new bad boy of Phyrexia. I think that'd be interesting. But they want to put Phyrexia to the side for a while. So anyway, so let's talk about this card.
Sure, why not?
How about somebody that's not me or Chewy?
How could we ever find one of those at this rate?
I think it's been a while. I feel like it's been a while since I read something. So, the invasion of New Phyrexia is is a siege. It's a mythic siege battle that costs X, white, and blue. And when it enters the battlefield, create X/2/2 white and blue knight creature tokens with vigilance.
Oh, wow.
So a bunch of creature
Oh, Zalfirins. I get it.
tokens. Yes.
Yep.
And it starts on 6 defense. So it could be a little mana, could be a lot of mana. Always starts on 6 defense, and you get some tokens.
It's pretty cool.
So on the other side, after you defeat it, you get a Planeswalker. You get Teferi, like Brian said. Teferi Akosa of Zulfir, specifically.
That's his name?
Yes.
I don't know if I ever knew Teferi's full name.
I didn't
I
know
don't know that anybody did. So
Yeah. I'm finding out for the first time here, too, I think.
Maybe he just stopped using it, and now that he's got his home turf back, he's like, I am Teferi Akosa, or something like that.
Mm-hmm. So Teferi starts on 4 loyalty. Has 3 abilities. +1, draw 2 cards. Then discard 2 cards unless you discard a creature card.
Okay.
Okay.
That looks familiar.
-2. You get an emblem with knights you control get +1/+0 and have ward 1.
Ooh.
An emblem with all that.
yeah.
And then -3, the last ability is just -3, so you could do this, outright if you're able to break the siege and get Teferi out there. So -3, tap X creatures you control. When you do, shuffle target non-land permanent an opponent controls with mana value X or less into its owner's library.
So you send... Hold up. So you send a bunch of knights over to grab a creature and throw it through the portal.
Yeah. Yeah. That's exactly it.
You know what? He's a big dude. And you. Go get him.
Yeah.
I don't know why that's funny to me, but...
And it's non-land permanent, so it could be, throw Elesh Norn in the hole, throw that battle in the hole, throw that chromatic lantern in the hole, whatever you need to do.
Yeah. I find it
Pikmin.
funniest to think
Oh my
about...
god, Teferi is Captain Olimar.
I think it's the funniest mental image to picture just the biggest stuff you can, and especially non-creatures, because I want to know how they're sending a Mycosynth Lattice into the hole. But maybe they have to like deconstruct it first and then throw it in. But
All of
I
you,
don't
go
know.
get that mic. Take your your hammers, your chisels, and probably some welding gear. Go. Cutting torch, you got that? Go.
I don't know how I feel about this Teferi because he's the least like time magic oriented we've ever seen him. He's
Thank
a lot more.
Right?
I mean, I guess we don't want to hit that well too much, but here, like, he had an identity. Chandra has been all over the place because they didn't want to just do damage all the time. But Teferi has had, like, he set himself apart from other white planeswalkers and other blue planeswalkers. This, and I think mechanically or flavorfully, this makes sense because he's with his people, and now he's much more focused on creatures. This to me just feels like a very different Teferi from what we've seen. And you do get a little bit of that with the whole, like, hey, we're taking them and throwing them into a portal. That has time-ish feeling to it because you're not even destroying or exiling the creature. It'll maybe come back at some point, but it is different. It is different. So I'm still not sure how I feel about this one.
I mean, this one, because it's not a straight Teferi, like it's the backside of a siege, I think they just went with something that made more sense in the moment. Because like this is the port. Okay, this is the portals opening in Infinity War, or not Infinity War, Endgame, and everybody coming out. Yeah. And Teferi's the one leading the charge. Like him doing time magic nonsense at this point would just be like, all right, man. What
Ironically,
are you doing?
in the story, that's exactly what he does, but he's doing it to basically give them an advantage, and it's a lot more localized. It's like he slows down Jinkataxius, for just a second, and then Jin-Gitaxias gets a very kind of weird ending in that he gets dropped into a vat of growing Phyrexian newts, so he gets eaten by his own creations. Very fitting, I guess.
Nice
But
bit of poetic justice there.
yeah. Let's see. Elish Norn is disintegrated by Karn. Before that happens, she has Ajani execute Shieldred, and she has Urabrask pulled apart, like Mike said, and that there's that card that illustrates that, where basically for having too much of a free will,
But
and
he's not dead, from what I
he's
understand.
Yeah, he doesn't get killed.
he's been pulled apart. The story strongly suggests that he's been pulled apart. It it strongly suggests that he's
Flavor
dead.
text on the card suggests that he's not dead.
Yeah.
Where it says like let him suffer or whatever.
Let me find it.
I know the card you're talking about.
So what about Vorinclex?
Merciless repurposing.
Merciless repurposing. The flavor text says, as the harvesters bore away the last of his limbs, what remained of Urabrask heard Elesh Norn say, leave the traitor be. Yeah, see, he's not dead.
Okay, so
He's laying there pissed off.
Oh, I'm picturing the heads from Futurama. So
Sorta, yeah.
yeah. So
So what about Vorinclex?
I think he's like decapitated by Elspeth,
Like you do.
like you do. Right next to Merciless Repurposing is Mirrodin Avenged, where Karn says, "You were my mistake. I will forever bear the weight of your horrors and of your end." And like in the story, like he is really torn up about this, but you gotta do what you gotta do.
That is an impressive piece of art right there with him holding up Elesh Norn's head. Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
This is some dark stuff. Oh, I guess we should read that. Mirrodin Avenged for a single black is an instant that says destroy target damage that was dealt damage. Destroy target creature that was dealt damage this turn. Draw a card. Is that a reprint? That's not a reprint. Because it's called Mirrodin Avenged. Duh.
Yeah, no. I don't think it's a functional reprint. Like the very first card that did this, Deathstroke, like cost black, and you didn't get a card.
And you didn't get a card. Yeah, this one's just silly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And
So
then
they
Merciless.
recognize this is kind of a tiny effect, so.
That is true. But for a single black to kill a creature and draw a card, whoo, damn.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then
there's the
Merciless
condition it has to
Repurposing
be. Yeah.
for 4 black is an instant that says exile target creature, incubate 3. Oh, they turned like 3 of his limbs into little Phyrexian things. Oh, that's messed up, dude. Huh?
Check. Hashtag justice for Urabrask.
Right? Urabrask was like the best of the Praetors. Like, sure, he was evil, but he wasn't like excessively evil. He was like, they're all right. Leave them alone.
Yeah. The only other one that even bothered to rebel against Elish Norn, at least until the very end, was Shieldred, and it was more because she was a Yawgmoth fanboy. So, interestingly, as these Zalfirans are coming through the portal, Jin-Gitaxias does start fighting with Elish Norn just a bit, and kind of divides their forces a little bit. But
hey,
villain's got a villain.
Yeah, we're getting confirmation in the chat that Urabrask is dead. Vorinclex was decapitated by some guy, and that this is Mirrodin Avenged is a functional reprint of You Are Already Dead.
I thought it sounded familiar.
Yeah, I guess it's just been too recent from a set that I've never opened. That I just don't have it in my head.
Okay, so yeah, I have not been paying attention to chat. Unfortunately, hang on, let me.
Yeah, sorry guys, you're throwing all this stuff at us, which is a good thing, and we're like da 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 da. I think the only non-basic lands are that common cycle reprint of the gain of life when it comes in dual lands. Yeah.
Yeah, so Jason said Urbrask is dead. He was just left to bleed out instead of a quick death. Look, if we don't see an actual corpse, then he's not dead. Haven't you ever seen a movie?
Children dies on camera, so Ajani is like chop chop. Also, at the end, Ajani like planeswalks back to New Phyrexia to try and help her out, and gets knocked out. He gets knocked out. Nissa gets knocked out, and on the realigned uh, Zolfir, am I not pronouncing that right? Zolfir, Zolfir.
Sounds right.
It's
Okay.
Zhalfir, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. The the planeswalkers managed to, for the first time, actually uncomplete somebody. They managed to bring back. The story closes with them bringing back Ajani and Nissa and Chandra actually kissing. Like, for Pete's sake, this took way too long.
Wait,
These people
really?
changed course on. Yeah, yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Wonder how
And it's
long until
implied.
Hasbro Corporate has them walk that back again. I mean, what?
Yeah, yeah. This it like they still have their Phyrexian parts, but they're just cleansed of the oil or whatever. But doing this costs Karn his spark or Venser's spark since he borrowed it, and it kills malaria. So this is not something that they can really do again. So it's
Wait,
it's
it kills what?
the Mirren who was naturally inoculated from Phyrexians.
Oh,
Really?
I'm sorry.
It
Right. What was her name? Because my brain, when you said
Alira.
Malira,
Malira.
okay, because Brian said malaria, and I wasn't actually
It
like paying
kills
close attention to what he
malaria.
said. It's like it kills malaria. I'm like, is that a side effect of the oil? What I just
Yeah,
missed?
you may experience periods of drowsiness, fatigue, and it may kill malaria.
Oh
So
yeah, look at
that
that.
is how the last story ends, is with Chandra kissing Nissa. But Jace is still out there. Vraska's still out there somewhere. Nahiri is on Zendikar, buried under some rocks, but she'll probably be back.
Like you do.
Yeah.
So Razorback said that he just checked, and there's one mythic that's monocolored that isn't a planeswalker or a double face card, and it's a reprint, and it's Monastery Mentor,
Yay, Monastery Mentor.
which is really cool. Just that's a trip that the only monocolored mythic that isn't a planeswalker or something is Monastery Mentor. What?
They just wanted to have it in standard, so and
Yeah.
it's played in other formats, so they wanted. It's a good way to reprint it.
Yeah.
Shall we? It's getting a bit late. Should we talk about the sword?
Oh yeah. Dirk brought that up earlier. Dirk, what's the sword? Where is the sword? How is the sword? There it is.
Sword of once and future.
Well, let me stop you right there. That's awesome.
So for 3 mana, it's a mythic equipment. Equipped creature gets +2/+2 and has protection from blue and from black.
Okay, now last time I was dumb, but this time this is the last one, right?
This is the last one.
Yes, this is the last sword.
Yes.
Okay.
This is the
like
last
this is
combination.
number 10.
Yes.
Okay.
So whenever equipped creature deals combat damage to a player, survey 2.
Surveil.
Okay. What is surveil again? I forget.
Surveil is like Scry, but you can put them into the graveyard instead of the bottom of your library.
Oh, okay. Got
Yeah,
it.
that's the choice you have. Either put them back, or you put cards back, or put cards into the graveyard. It was the Demir mechanic for one of the returns to Ravnica. I can't remember which one.
I think the
It-
last one.
Yeah, gate crash.
Okay, sorry, Dirt.
Then you may cast an instant or sorcery spell with mana value 2 or less from your graveyard without paying its mana cost. If that spell would be put into your graveyard, exile it instead, and it equips for 2. So it potentially puts things into the graveyard, and if it's for 2 or less, you can play it from your graveyard, or yeah, you can cast it for 2 or less from your graveyard without paying its mana cost,
That's
as long as you deal combat damage to a player.
Yeah.
that's nowhere near as
sword-
cool as the name.
All of the swords have the when it deals combat damage to a player, do these 2 possible abilities that have something to do with the 2 colors. Sometimes they have something to do with each other. Sometimes they don't. Like Body and Mind is make a wolf token and mill an opponent for 10, which they don't, you know,
Woo!
yeah, wolf goes, that's a lot of cards. But these 2 abilities being in this order is incredibly deliberate. Oh, look, here's a cheap instant or sorcery. Should I put it into the graveyard or keep it on top?
Like, the thing that bothers me about this is not like the quality, it's that it's got 2 blue abilities instead of something bluish and something blackish.
Well, the black abilities
I
is
feel like-
surveil, right?
I feel like both of them. I feel like both abilities are a little blue and black. Yeah, Surveil was the Demir mechanic. It was the blue and black mechanic.
I mean,
in
sure,
that
but haven't they printed
set.
Surveil? Oh, no, they have. Yeah, Surveil is just a thing they do now, right?
I mean,
I
the
don't
fact that it doesn't
feel
have
like it.
reminder text.
Oh, no,
It's
not
not-
Surveil. What's.
I mean, this is on a
Try.
mythic. It's not going to have You're not going to have reminder text on a mythic.
I kind of get where Chewy's come from. A lot of these abilities have been like, this is clearly the green ability, and this is clearly the blue ability. This is a little more blurring the lines.
Yeah, I mean, so at being generous, it's got a blue black ability and then a mono blue ability. Like.
second ability is definitely the second part of that is definitely not a straight black ability.
Okay, Razorback said they did make Surveil deciduous. I thought that there had been Surveils on cards lately, but I thought maybe I was confusing Surveil with a different thing. Because, I'm dumb. And Surveil feels like it's mostly on blue cards these days, but that could just be my anti-blue bias. Because I kind of hate blue still. I'm keeping it alive for you, Clues. Down with the islands.
Poor islands.
And wherever Clues is, he's looking down and going, what's going on down there? Because, Clues is still alive. But he's looking down at his feet, going, hello, feet. Because that's the sort of thing
Wondering
Clues would
what
do.
Yeah.
What the hell's an urn of Godfire? What's Godfire?
The flavor text will tell you.
Farah blessed the defenders of Theros with Godfire, a Nyx-infused incendiary substance that burned without fuel. That is great. Can I get some of that? I have a use for Godfire.
You want something that burns without fuel. That
Yeah.
feels very dangerous.
I mean, I'm not... My lawyer has told me not to say what I'm going to use it for.
That's right, he did.
Just saying, I could think of some uses for Godfire, and let's not go into it. Huh. No dying. So, as usual with our more explanatory episodes, we didn't get into too many cards because we had to talk about what the hell a battle is and various other things like that.
We've covered the mythics, so
I mean, we covered some of them. Was that all of them? I don't even
all
know.
the prayers. There might be more. I guess I shouldn't say that. But now we got stuff to talk about next week.
Yeah, because they're like, I have seen a lot of people on social media that I, for some reason, haven't unfollowed yet even though they only talk about Magic, talk about this set as, wow, this might actually get me to start playing X again. And I was like, really? Because like I've seen some neat cards, but I haven't been paying that much attention to the previews. But apparently there's stuff in here that are making people go, ho ho ho! Which, that's cool. I always appreciate that.
I don't know how powerful the set is as far as the general power level of the set, but there are some neat cards here. It is late, and I probably need to go. I would like to talk about one more card if I can.
All right, what is it?
Because you want to talk about callbacks. I got to explain what this was calling back. When I was talking to Sam, I was telling what this was a callback to. It is in red, but it's in the double-faced red. It is called Etali Primal Conqueror. And this is
All right,
the front.
Brian,
The,
I
yes.
need you to get out of my head. That's what's been on the screen for the last couple minutes, because I was going to be like, can I talk about a card? That's weird.
So I'll tell you, you want to talk about the front half or the back half? And I'll take the other one.
I mean, no, I just think that's weird. Go ahead.
Okay, so Etali, Primal Conqueror, for 5 and 2 red. The last time we saw this was one of the giant elder dinosaurs from
Ixalan.
Ixalan.
No.
Thank you. No?
Was it
Yeah.
Ixalan?
Yeah, Ixalan was dinosaurs. Ikoria was
Vampire
monsters.
Pirates. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So, and this thing had the effect of, like, you know, basically allowing you to play cards from the top of libraries for free. And we still have that here. For 5 mana, for 7 mana, 5 and 2 red, is a 7/7 with trample. When it enters the battlefield, each player exiles cards from the top of their library until they exile a non-land card. You may cast any number of spells from among the non-land cards exiled this way without paying their mana costs. So that is a callback to what this card did originally. And it's here, but it's about to be Phyrexianized for 9 and a green Phyrexian mana. You transform it, activate only as a sorcery, and it turns into Etali Primal Sickness. Get down with this sickness. It's a Phyrexian Elder Dinosaur.
Yeah, that type line is sure is something, isn't it?
It's super tiny. It is... What does this remind you of? It is an 11/11 with trample and indestructible.
So the Darksteel Colossus.
No, the other one.
Well, it is a callback to a Colossus, yes. Whenever Etali Primal Sickness deals combat damage to a player, they get that many poison counters.
So it flips into a Blightsteel Colossus,
Yeah, basically.
which is awful.
A Blightsteel Colossus that doesn't have Infect, so the damage isn't prevented.
Wow. So you can kill them 2 ways at once if you like. It's like, look, you're at 0 life and 11 poison, nerd.
Yeah.
You have to have 20
So-
to lose, don't you?
No, 10.
You have to have
10?
10 poison
Oh, gosh.
poison to lose. Yeah, 10 poison
And
to
it's
lose.
trample, so
So,
you
Can
can't
you tell
block with, like, a
we don't
little-
play with
like, no,
poison?
stop it.
yeah. So, Sam turns to me at this point, and she's like, is there a way to remove poison counters? I was like, thank you for asking that question, because you know how I've complained about this, because every other win condition has some way of reversing itself. Or there's been ways to deal with all of them, and I said that no, and then I corrected myself, and I said, there's one, and I pulled up leeches on Gather, and she looks at it, she's like, that's not a good card. And I'm like, no,
Ding, 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 ding.
it's not. And even if it was halfway passable, it is so old, and they have never reprinted it. So,
Yup.
so I just want to talk about that card, because there's a lot of other stuff to talk about. We've talked about, what, like 2 battles? And there's
Yeah.
a lot more. But It's
34 more, in
also
fact.
late. Yeah.
Yeah,
So I'm gonna stop talking.
we'll hit some more of this next week, I'm sure, just because there's so much here. Oh, look, it's an origami frog. That's weird. Oh, not to mention all of the team up cards that have been revealed, some of which are really funny. Yeah, there's just a lot of stuff here. So we'll get into like Borborygmos and Fibblethip. Come on now.
Yeah.
Come on now. Actually read this card and really liked it. But we'll do that next week. So how about some wait, what?
Final thoughts?
Did we miss something? Hang on, scroll. Oh yeah, we forgot about the flavor text on Itali Primal Sickness, which is the contagion spreads and the multiverse quakes. I like that. Once again, one of our listeners, who is a name that you've heard a lot if you listen to the show, because he's in the sponsorship shout out in the at the end, was again responsible for some of the flavor text in this set, which is
Nice.
awesome. But he's also very humble, and I was like, "Hey, give me a list of the cards that you wrote, and we'll like do a spotlight on them." And he's like, "I mean, no, because I didn't necessarily write them all. Some of them was, riffing on someone else's idea, and it was a big community effort." I was like, "Okay, that's really good." But I'm sure. Oh, names and flavor tech. Oh, did you do the Primal Sickness name? Is that what Jay Spencer meant? Why can't I get back to Italy? There we go. I know you mentioned Italy in the Discord, but I don't do things. So yeah, he came up with Italy Primal Sickness, which is awesome.
Cool. Very nice.
But yeah, so whenever we get to one that he had a hand in, hopefully he'll chime in like that. He didn't chime in, while we were reading the card because he's very modest. But you got to do that, man. All right, so let's go back to here. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do things all out of order just to keep Brian from going to bed.
Thank you.
You are welcome. So, hey, if you go to patreon.com/themanapool, you can become a lifeguard and, do all the lifeguard things. Mainly keeping the content creation here afloat. But you can get the odds and ends and early access to stuff and the sponsorship shout out if you're extra generous. So hey, let me do that in this order. That order is what it was already in, so now it's backwards. Here we go. So let me thank our Mythic Lifeguards, Timu Hellas Haru, Scuzzo, Pinball Witch, Mr. Dr. Lewis, Beardy Man, Kim Ho, Ow, I hurt myself. Ow, I hurt myself is not a patron anymore. Casey, John Parker, Jason Kaus, Jason Doan. One of those is trustworthy. The other one is Jason Doan. Jake Jansen's, Connor Kennedy, Cody Buckowing, Andrew Odie, Andrew Hunt, ALK Alters, and Al. Yay! So thank you all so very much for your support. And to all of you other lifeguards at every tier. And to all of you just listening or watching. All of that. We appreciate it. Well, I do. I don't know about these other dorks. They probably do, though.
We do.
See? So, okay. There's the Patreon thing. Now Brian actually had to listen to it. But now, how about we let Brian go to bed? So, how about your final thoughts there, Mr. Sir?
So I enjoyed the story. My only complaint is that they spent a lot of time building this up, and then they resolved stuff very quickly. Like Atraxa has a story almost to herself where she's describing being in New Capenna and reading the minds of the people there and learning the definition of the word beautiful. And it's kind of an interesting thing because she's trying to find like what is this beauty that everybody's talking about, and going into museums and seeing a dissonance with the celebration of the individual versus her Phyrexian sensibilities, and it's really kind of curious. And then in the next story or the story after that, basically another character watches her die from a distance where some riveteers drop a building on her, and that's it. And I'm like, uh, okay. So, in this effort to get everything all tidied up, I feel like they rushed the end a bit. But otherwise, think that they did a pretty good job. Really like to see the evolution of Elspeth's story, and I'm glad we're going to continue to see her. um, so set looks pretty interesting. Gonna try to go to a pre-release. I have to see how the next couple of weeks are going, just due to ongoing things with my family. But want to try to go if I can. So, and then maybe at some point I'll actually see these guys IRL. I know we saw each other literally at the end of last year. It's been about 4 months. Maybe we can take some time and see each other again. And I know we haven't played Magic in a long time, but dang it, I'm looking to at least get one or two of these commander decks and play some plane chase. But we'll figure that out. In the meantime, it's good to talk to everybody. I hope everybody has a good night. And now, because I'm a little under the weather, I'm gonna go get some sleep. So I'm totally not gonna go gestate in a cocoon with some +1/+1 counters and turn into something else, as far as you know.
Well,
So,
no, you've got an almost teenager. That's what she's doing.
oh dear Lord, I need to go check and see how many +1/+1 counters she's got.
I
All
think
right,
it's 12.
you guys. Oh yeah, yeah, I can't handle a 12/12, not even slightly. I'll see you guys later. Have a good night.
Night B. I do like that apparently the Riveteers are an antivirus, and dropping a train on them didn't work. That's a very deep cut. Mike got it. All right, Edgar, drop a train on them. Anyway, Dirk, what you got?
Um, My final thought is, I am actually coming to the podcast from my home, like not my parents, my actual home. I have my setup at my house, getting in to enjoy some spring break time with the family. I have a very long honey-do list, but the fact that I am at my home gives me great joy.
Awesome.
Nice.
So I'm going to enjoy
how-
my spring break.
How long has it
And-
been since you were in your house?
Well, I go on the weekends, but I'm actually going to be like at my home.
Yeah, but
for
I
an
mean,
extended period of time.
yeah. How
and
long has
not,
it been
like,
since
2
you
days.
lived at your house? How long have you been staying with your parents? Is what I'm trying to ask here, Dirk.
Almost a year.
Oh God, really?
hmm
Oh God, it's April. What is going on?
May. May is when we we sold the house in June.
Wow, it has been
Yeah.
almost a year then. That's ridiculous.
Yep.
How is it April already?
Mm. Time
Thanksgiving
ticks
was like 2 weeks ago. Anyway.
on. But with that, I am going to bounce and head on to bed. So you guys all have a wonderful night.
Night, Zerk.
Good night.
How about you there, beard face? Beardy man? Mike? Whatever your name is.
Okay. Hmm. I need to look up the. So is this not this coming weekend, but next weekend for the pre-release for this? Is that how the...
You're asking me? How the hell should I know?
I don't know. I need to look that up because I really had a lot of fun at the new Phyrexia pre-release. So I definitely want to check this one out.
Nice.
Of course, I need to take a closer look at the Commander Plane Chase decks too. So I'm definitely interested in, even without having looked at them, I'm definitely interested in getting them. Plane Chase we had a lot of fun with Plane Chase, except when we landed on the planes that were absolutely miserable, and I don't know why I insisted that I kept them in the pile, but whatever. I guess I just felt that, it wouldn't be right to leave some of them out, have all of them. I think it was just me being weird. But
You, Mike?
believe it or not.
Wow. Never would have guessed.
But yeah, it's cool stuff here. Yeah, that's about it for now.
Fair enough. What are my final thoughtsing? Oh, chat points out you have until the 18th to do your taxes if you haven't already. I finally got mine sent off to my accountant 3 days ago, finally. So that's good.
Yep.
Yeah,
we did ours a little while ago. We've gotten our federal refund, but not the state one yet.
Rub it in.
I really need to update my W-2 so we get like a little more money every month during the year instead of the big chunk being returned back to us once a year. I never changed it when Ashley and I got married. So my withholdings are just too much right now.
But see, then you get the big chunk so you can buy a new laptop. I mean, what?
Yeah.
A thing that I've always loved about our wonderful country here and its tax system is that I am perpetually broke, and yet I'm probably going to owe some taxes. Because most of my income is non-taxed because, it's Patreon and DoorDash, and they don't take tax out of that. But, I'm barely keeping my head above water, so how would I have money to pay taxes? Usually it's not much. Usually. But, still. I never have understood how that worked. And even when I had taxed income, I still had to pay every year. Even though I was broke. I don't understand this country.
That is surprising given your just general income level.
My brokenness, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm fairly certain the place I was working when we started this podcast so many years ago, I'm fairly certain he was doing something shady because I was doing maximum withholding and I wasn't making that much money, and yet I still owed money. So, I never did trust him. He sucked. But anyway. Oh, what I was actually going to talk about for my final thought is, for those that don't know, I have been streaming the Resident Evil 4 remake because I finished, playing the original Resident Evil 4 right before the remake came out, and some generous people helped me pick it up. That was JT Huffy and Ben and Kim Ho and who was the fourth one? Jay Spencer. There we go. So thanks to them for buying Resident Evil 4 Remake for me. And it is so sweet. I love the original. It is one of my favorite games ever. And after just finishing playing it, that still holds up. Sure, it has some minor annoyances, like having to go into the menu to change weapon or to your inventory to change weapons. But that's a relic of the time, But everything about the game still holds up for me beautifully. And then the remake came out, and I was convinced that the game didn't need a remake. I'm like, it's already perfect. Go remake Code Veronica, you cowards. But this is one of those remakes done right. Like it keeps the feel mostly intact of the original. Like it's similar gameplay but modernized. It's got a whole lot of quality of life changes. Obviously the graphics are much improved. But it feels like Resident Evil 4, which was the important part. Like a lot of people didn't like the Resident Evil 2 and 3 remakes because they're completely different games from the original. But I really like what they've done. Like the stuff they've added doesn't seem like it was added just because, except for crafting. I kind of still hate the crafting. But it's a modern AAA game, so it had to have a crafting system.
Mm-hmm.
But that feels tacked on and kind of silly when you could just have ammo instead of pieces to make ammo. But whatever. This way you can just make what you need or want instead of, oh, I got more TMP ammo. I don't have a TMP. So I guess it is okay. Like I don't hate it, but I don't like it. But that's more me than anything else.
Mm-hmm.
But like all the stuff that I heard about ahead of time, like, oh, your knife has durability. Oh, that's stupid. Nope, it works. Because you can also parry attacks from enemies now. And if you could just parry attacks from enemies forever, that would be kind of busted. So now your knife has durability. Oh. And you can find other knives and use those too for when your knife breaks before you get to the merchant. Stuff like that. The stealth mechanics aren't, shoved in your face. They work really well. Ashley is a lot less annoying, and also she's 20 instead of 16. But now you can't look up her skirt. And while that did upset one nerd in the Steam reviews, which was hilarious, it was not meant to be hilarious. It was, all that works. Yeah, I'm really enjoying it. I'm in the castle. So I think the next boss fight is Salazar, I think, is who I'm working towards now. And then I'll get to do the island, and then I'll be done, and I can play it again. New Game Plus. Yes. Which I'm actually very excited to do, weirdly. Weirdly for me, anyway. That is not a thing I usually do.
Uh-huh.
Is continue playing a game like that once I'm done. Like I know I'm doing it for Final Fantasy VII, but that's because Bill and Brian did it, and I can't have Bill and Brian beating a game on hard when I wouldn't. What? No. So. But anyway, yeah, it's great. I highly recommend it. Or I recommend you come hang out with me while I play it. My parents have shown up to like 2 streams.
Really?
I know.
Oh.
Because I was trying to explain what the remake was doing. And Mom was like, what is this game? Or the old man was like, what does this game even look like? I was like, I mean, you could pull up my Twitch and look at the last video. So I told him how to install the Twitch app on their Fire Stick. And he pulled it up and watched me play for like 20 minutes while I was sitting there with him. And I was like, why are y'all watching this? He's like, oh, I don't know. I just got interested. So then I came home that night and started streaming, and I got a text from Mom, we're watching. I was like, what? Hi, parents. And they hung out the entire stream, which tripped me right the hell out. Well, I mean, Mom watched the entire stream. The old man eventually got tired and went to bed, but still. And then I got a couple streams ago, I got a text. It was like, hey, we're watching again. I was like, it's like 11:30. Why are y'all still watching? Why are y'all playing on my stream now? She's like, the old man thought he'd check to see if you were playing. Oh. So yeah, that's cool. You can come hang out with me and the parents, weirdly enough. And then I got a text one night. I didn't stream a couple nights ago because it was like 87 degrees here, and by the time I got home from dashing, I was dead. And I was like, oh, I can't do it. I'm not streaming. And I got a text from Mom, are you not streaming? I was like, no. She's like, oh, that's why we couldn't find you then. Okay, never mind. I was like, what? My parents are adorable, it turns out. But anyway, I just thought I'd share that. So, yeah, it's twitch.tv/themanapool. I usually, if I'm going to stream, I start around 8:30-ish Eastern time. Sometimes slightly later, depending on what else is going on. But, it's around there. I'm playing Resident Evil 4 Remake and Spider-Man and occasionally Hitman. That's about it right this second, but also Inscription and Power Wash Simulator and Final Fantasy VII Remake on occasion as well. And once I finish one of these, I'm going to start Doom, damn it. 2016, the newer Doom. Finally. One of these days. Once I get through one of these other games. Yeah, I'm getting the Metroidvania itch too. Again, because I finished Hollow Knight a while back. And I think it might be time to finally dive into the Metroids. Like, all of them. The 2D ones, anyway.
Cool.
Including the first one. But I'm going to play the first one patched. So I don't have to suffer. I don't care if you like that or not. Because I'm the one playing, and I don't want to suffer.
What kinds of patches?
Oh, a patch so that when you die in Metroid, no matter how many missiles or energy tanks you have, you start with, I think it's 30 health and some tiny number of missiles, maybe none, I don't remember. Mm-hmm. And you have to find a place to grind for energy and missiles. And that can take like half an hour, depending on, again, how many energy tanks you have. And that is awful, and I'm not going to do that. So I found a patch that just starts you with full, like in every other Metroid game.
That's good.
Yeah. And I might have found a rudimentary map patch too. I can't remember. I'll have to look. But yeah, the plan is to eventually play through all of the 2D Metroid games. So Metroid 1, 2, Super again, probably. And then Fusion. What was after Fusion? Zero Mission, which is a modern remake of 1. And then I'll probably play AM2R, another Metroid 2 remake, the fan game. I forget the order these go in. Then it might be Samus Returns, which is the official Metroid 2 remake. I can't remember. I've got a list somewhere. And then I'll buy Dread and play it once I get through all of those. But that'll be a while. But yeah, I'm excited to play through the evolution of the actual Metroid franchise. The 2D ones. If they ever release all 3 of the 3D ones on Switch, then I'll do that. But at the moment, they've only released 1. And 3, I actually can't emulate. Well, I could, but I'm not gonna, because it sounds like such a pain in the ass to even make it work sort of well. Because 3 required the Wii controls. And no. For emulation, anyway. So, yeah. But anyway. I gotta finish some of these other games first. Get into Doom. And then it'll probably be like Doom, Metroid, and one other thing. The things I bounce between once I get into that. But right now it's Spider-Man and Resident Evil 4. And I still am occasionally doing these other games. Yeah. But anyway, I didn't mean to talk for that long about nothing. So, hey, if you're still watching, then leave a comment. If you're on YouTube anyway, leave a comment that says something. I was trying to think of something relevant and I got nothing. Leave a comment that says, yes, Chewie's mom is adorable. There we go. Then I can show those to her and she'll be like, aw. Or don't. It's up to you. Anyway, we're going to stop now. So this has been episode 674. Good Lord, that number is not small. of the Mana Pool. Thank you all so very much for joining us. Do let us know what you think of March of the Machine cards and battles and the ridiculous ass Praetors. Just let us know about all of that. There's the Discord, there's Twitter, there's even Facebook if you really want. You can send us an email, comment on YouTube, come to the Twitch channel and tell me live. There's all kinds of ways to talk to us, or to me anyway. And I will relay it to the dorks, because the dorks are Luddites. Yeah. But all right, so this has been episode 674 of the Mana Pool. Thank you all again so very much for joining us. And don't be a time... I had something involving Teferi, and it completely fell off. Don't be a time mage when you just need to hit people. We'll go with that.